It has happened again. Just 9 days after the uproar in Ferguson, a grand jury in New York City has refused to indict yet another white police officer said to have killed an unarmed black man. The incident, which involved an apparent chokehold, was captured on video and went viral. And tonight, protesters are in the streets. The president is weighing in, and ABC's Ron Claiborne is on the story.
Angry crowds tonight in the streets of New York, protesting yet another controversial grand jury decision.
I can't breathe!
Adding a new chant to the growing chorus of civil discontent across the country. Now responding to the white police officer seen here, not facing charges for holding down an unarmed black man, Eric Garner, in an apparent chokehold that is said to have eventually killed him. Protests breaking out in Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, and Oakland, California.
Don't touch me, not touch me.
Outrage sparked by this video from July. Garner, who had been accused of selling cigarettes illegally on New York's Staten Island, seen here being taken down by NYPD officer Daniel Pantaleo.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
The officer apparently using a banned chokehold on Garner. The father of 6 later died. His death was ruled a homicide by the medical examiner, but the grand jury choosing not to indict Officer Pantaleo, a decision that infuriated many.
And it was over a lousy cigarette that killed the man.
Anybody with eyes can see what happened. How in the hell did it go that way?
In a statement released tonight, Pantaleo said, "It is never my intention to harm anyone, and I feel bad about the death of Mr. Garner." Garner's family furious with the grand jury's decision and unmoved by the apology.
Hell no. The time for remorse would have been when my husband was yelling to breathe.
The 22-person grand jury, composed of 13 or 14 white jurors and 9 or 10 black or Hispanic jurors, met for more than 4 months and heard from more than 22 witnesses.
As a legal matter, police officers are allowed to do things ordinary people aren't allowed to do. The question becomes, when do they cross the line? When was it no longer objectively reasonable to use the kind of force that they did?
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot!
The outrage over this incident stems from one underlying worry, that in the eyes of the judicial system, black lives don't matter.
Black lives do not matter to this system. When you, time and time again, you're seeing us being murdered, and time again, you're seeing the police go free. It is screaming that the police are not being held accountable.
And you've heard in so many places people of all backgrounds utter the same basic phrase. They've said Black Lives Matter. And they said it because it had to be said. It's a phrase that should never have to be said. It should be self-evident.
And for many, today's grand jury decision echoed what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, where charges were not brought against Officer Darren Wilson for shooting and killing unarmed black teen Michael Brown. One obvious difference in Garner's case, his entire confrontation with police was captured on video. It all unfolded in a matter of minutes. 2 plainclothes officers confronting Garner, who had been arrested more than 30 times, confronting him about selling those cigarettes, a misdemeanor.
I'm minding my business, officer.
2 officers move in and try to physically arrest him. Garner seems to resist. Within seconds, the 350-pound man is down. From the ground, Garner cries out.
Put your hand behind your back. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
For several long minutes, Garner lays on the ground, not moving.
He was saying stop resisting. He's like, I'm not resisting, and then it was, I can't breathe, and then that's it. You see his arm get stiff, and I already knew.
Sorry, EMS is here. Answer their questions, okay?
Paramedics arrive. One of them is seen on the videotape speaking to Garner.
Sir, it's EMS. Come on. We're here to help, all right? We're here to help you. We're getting the stretcher, all right?
But they appear to do nothing. Finally, Garner is placed on a stretcher and taken by ambulance to a local hospital. About an hour later, he is pronounced dead. Ruled a homicide, the medical examiner's report did note that Garner's health conditions, like asthma and heart disease, also led to his death.
The medical examiner found that it was a homicide, but all that really means is that he died at the hands of another. That doesn't necessarily mean that what the police officer did was a crime.
The policemen's union said that sometimes force is necessary. At times, when officers are required to make an arrest, they must employ the use of force in order to get compliance. Officer Pantaleo maintains that he used an approved takedown technique. After the incident, the NYPD ordered a massive overhaul of the police force, including new training on restraint techniques and adopting body cameras.
Swipe the screen, and now you can see what my camera's seeing.
More and more police departments across the nation are employing these cameras. We rode along with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department that showed us how they work.
Do you have your driver's license on you, sir?
The department's saying that cameras lead to more transparency for both the officers and the alleged perpetrators.
Now, I'm just going to handcuff you for my safety, okay? Give me that you got a syringe on you, okay?
But all of those video cameras didn't stop the use of what became lethal force in the case of Eric Garner.
It's time for us to make more progress than we've made. And I'm not interested in talk, I'm interested in action.
The U.S. Justice Department now announcing that it will launch an independent civil rights investigation.
There is still likely a very strong civil case that his family can and will bring against the city.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio addressed the city, calling for calm.
If you really want to dignify the life of Eric Garner, you will do so through peaceful protest. You will not sully his name with violence or vandalism.
Shut it down! Shut it down!
More than a dozen arrested so far, but no riots, no fires. Garner's stepfather outraged earlier in the evening.
And this walking home and go home with his family, that ain't worth a damn to me.
Later channeling his emotions to defuse a situation near where Eric Garner died. But many are promising protests well into the week.
Eric Garner got choked by the cops standing on Staten Island.
Fighting for justice they feel will come no time soon.
The man was lynched for the whole world to see. And our system of justice is so corrupt that they couldn't even indict the officer that committed the murder.
For Nightline, I'm Ron Claiborne in New York.